All right, here we are, pandemic training camp. They've got 10 days to get their team put together. Not ideal, obviously. Usually we have preseason games so the coaching staff and management can make decisions on players. However, it is what it is. Jesse Puljujarvi's back with the Oilers. Of course, he signed a 2-year contract back in the fall to rejoin the team after taking a year off, or holding out on the Oilers, basically. Went back to Finland and played a year of pro hockey there. I guess we're waiting to see what's changed between now and 2 years ago and the last time he was with the Oilers organization. What are the Oilers hoping to see from him?
Well, his English is a lot better, not only from talking to media people, and I'm sure the fan doesn't really care what we think, but his teammates want to carry on conversations with Jesse as well. He'll get the jokes now in the dressing room and stuff like that if his communication skills are better. Also, with what the coaches are saying to him. So. You're right, no exhibition games to see, how he fits with Kyle Turris, but nobody's playing any exhibition games. It's not like the Oilers are on an island by themselves here, and the rest of the league's playing exhibition games. So they'll just have to see how he looks in the camp in some scrimmages. And he's saying all the right things. He played well, almost a point a game in Finland. Bigger ice surface though. I don't know if the skills translate, European skills translate to a North American rink, but I guess we'll see.
And he said he's playing alongside Kyle Turris as his center. He's slotted on the third line. I mean, this is obviously a high draft pick. It was almost 5 years ago, 2016, the 4th overall by the Oilers. And obviously when you're drafted that high, there's lots of expectations on you. And of course, it's a wait and see what he does with that, playing on the third line, because it's not as though the Oilers don't have needs on the second and first lines.
Well, I agree with you. I think first round picks get way more rope than second, third, fourth, seventh rounders to not only wait for them to get better or move them along to another team. The third line for the Oilers, I think, has been a black hole for some time. I think it's almost like, okay, we've got six players who can play in the top two lines, and then whoever's left will play in the third and fourth. But in today's NHL, you need a third line that can score some points, especially if they're on against another team's third defense pairing. And if your third line can rather than just check, can also put up some points in whatever time they get, that's a bonus. And if Turris has a history, certainly Kyle Turris has a history as an offensive player, starting in Arizona and then Ottawa. Not so much in Nashville though. Before he came to the Oilers, didn't play as well there. And Puljujarvi, I think it's time for Jesse to prove to people why he was the fourth overall pick. Dubois was picked one ahead of him by Columbus and is certainly a much better player than Jesse has been. When you only have 37 points in 139 NHL games, whether you were rushed to the NHL or not, that's not what a fourth overall pick is supposed to do. And I think the Oilers are looking at Jesse, okay, you went to Europe, you didn't like it here, you didn't give the new coaching staff or the general manager any chance to work with you last year. Now you're back, you're saying all the right things, but that has to translate onto the ice as well. And I think they're probably looking at him saying, if he could just get, 12 goals in half a season, in 56 games and maybe 25 points or 23 points or something, I think that would suffice, and it would show that he's on his way.
And one other detail, Maddie, about Jesse Puljujarvi, he's changed his number. Tell me more about that.
Well, he's now going to be 13. He was 98, and not a lot of NHLers have ever worn 98. Brian Lawton did in Minnesota when he was first overall pick. He took a lot of shots for that because it was too close to Wayne Gretzky's 99. And Mikhail Sergachev in Tampa wears the number. And obviously Jesse's wearing 98 in Edmonton because that was his birth year. But lots of NHLers were born in 98 and don't wear that number. So they choose to wear another number. And it was never a good look in Edmonton, I don't think, with Gretzky having 99 and certainly McDavid having 97 and then being wedged between McDavid and Gretzky at 98. And he's coming back for a second chance in Edmonton. So he's changing his number to number 13. And lots of players have worn 13 over the years for the Oilers. Ken Linsman did, Andrew Cogliano did, Risto Yalo did. Some players, Jason Garrison,
Cam Barker,
Jason, some players that weren't too good as well. So That's a good move for him.
I suppose maybe if things turned out a little differently for Puljujarvi, 98 would be okay. But like you said, not very many people wear it for good reason. Too close to that number 99. Moving to the defense, Tyson Barrie joined the team in the offseason on a one-year deal. With Oscar Klefbom's status in the air at the time when they signed him, and now with Klefbom out, the Oilers signing Barrie will fill that hole on the power play. But the question is 5-on-5. At camp right now, Barrie is slotted with his defense partner Chris Russell, who isn't a top pairing guy. Darnell Nurse and Ethan Bear have been, at least in training camp, the top pairing. What is that suggesting for Tyson Barrie as the season starts? Considering the yin and yang of a typical defensive pair, there's really nobody else for Tyson Barrie to play with besides maybe Nurse or maybe even an Adam Larsson. But Larsson's a right shot.
Yeah, and I think Caleb Jones will play with Adam Larsson, a left and a right, and Ethan Bear and Darnell Nurse. So that leaves Chris Russell or Slater Cuckoo, as the left side with Tyson Barrie. But I guess there's two ways to look at Tyson Barrie. One, he's going to bring a different look to the power play, a right shot. And two, do you want him on the ice 5-on-5 whenever McDavid is on with his line, or Draisaitl is on with his line, because he's the best puck mover on the other defense. And if you don't add him to the mix so he becomes like an extra forward on the play, then what are you doing? Most of the games played 5-on-5. It's not on the power play. You need your best offensive defenseman on the ice, you would think, with McDavid and Draisaitl. But if he's in a pairing with, say, Chris Russell or Slater Cuckoo, that looks like it could be a third pairing. Well, your third pairing probably shouldn't be on the ice with your third line guy, Kyle Turris and Jesse Puljujarvi. It's going to be an interesting situation for the coach, Dave Tippett, who wants to emphasize how important Barrie is to the offense of the Oilers on the power play. But 5-on-5, as I said, usually 45 to 50 minutes of a game is 5-on-5. So you want to maximize his ability with your two star players.
Yeah, because Klefbom obviously was the leader in minutes for the Oilers played last season, as he has been in recent years. And now you're not necessarily going to have a guy who's playing 25, never mind upwards of a half an hour a game on the defense.
No, I don't think so. I think they'd like to get the minutes fairly even on the three pairings this year. Although Dave Tippett also said he might want to up Darnell Nurse's minutes by a minute and a half. He was well over 20 last year too, so he might play 22 minutes a game or so, 23 maybe, but certainly nobody in the 26, 27, 28. And the reason Klefbom got so many minutes, because he played the whole power play. And if the Oilers got five power plays a game, theoretically that's an extra 10 minutes. At the minimum 7, because the Oilers would often score on their power play. So on top of his minutes. But Darnell Nurse doesn't play on the power play. So is he going to be able to get those minutes that Klefbom got? So maybe every defenseman on the Oilers plays around 18. 18, 19, which keeps everybody fresh.